Gary, the urban historian, and I'm standing on the corners of Houston and Elm Street in the heart of downtown Dallas, Texas, where on November 22nd, 1963, the unthinkable happened. A black eye was put on American politics forever. So, with a heavy heart, I like to say, unfortunately, this is where it happened.
Let's rewind time and go back to the fall of 1963. President Kennedy, along with his gorgeous wife Jackie, are in Texas to deliver a series of speeches. President Kennedy's aim was to bring the Democratic Party back together in a bid for re-election the following year. President Kennedy started his Texas tour by giving speeches in the cities of Houston, San Antonio, and Fort Worth. On Friday, November 22nd, Air Force One landed at Dallas's Love Field Airport. President Kennedy was greeted at the airport by hundreds of fans. The president calmly walked through the crowd and shook hands with all the people. His wife, Jackie Kennedy, wore the famous pink Chanel suit with matching hat. She was presented with a bouquet of flowers. President Kennedy was ultimately to have lunch at the Dallas World Trade Mart. The route from the airport to the Trade Mart was about 11 miles. The presidential motorcade would go through the heart of downtown Dallas as thousands of people eagerly waited for a glimpse of the president. The motorcade drove down Main Street, and all was well. The motorcade then made a right turn onto Houston Street, right before making the sharp left onto Elm Street. What happened next is extremely clear. The 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, is shot and for all intensive purposes, killed. Texas Governor John Connally was also shot. Now, that's the clear part. Now, the unclear part is who shot him, how many times was he shot, where was he shot from, and most of all, who was responsible. There were 1,000,001 questions about what happened in Kennedy Plaza that day. Some witnesses that day said they heard 3 shots. Others said they heard between 4 and 5. Other witnesses standing on the grassy knoll believed they heard shots coming from over their shoulder. Now, James Tague was standing near the triple underpass when the shots fired off. He was also struck by a bullet. Many people point to this as proof, without reasonable doubt, that there was a conspiracy to murder President Kennedy.
Okay, I'm standing at the top of the infamous grassy knoll area.
There was one man at Dealey Plaza that day that would ultimately give the American public the definitive truth of the assassination of President Kennedy. Through his camera lens. That man was Abraham Zapruder.
This is the exact spot where Abraham Zapruder filmed the Kennedy assassination. He stood right here on this concrete slab and he took a picture. And this is the most famous images and video, right, of the Kennedy assassination. He was right here. This is the exact spot where President Kennedy was assassinated. This is the picket fence. This is behind the picket fence If you look closely, you can see the X on the street. Is where Kennedy was shot from the front right in this location. And his body goes back and to the left. Now you can defy simple logic, or you can defy gravity if you want to, but this is the exact spot where President Kennedy, the kill shot, the infamous shot that unfortunately, the grotesque shot, I should say. This is the exact location. I'm right behind the picket fence.
Ultimately, the blame for the JFK assassination went to Lee Harvey Oswald and the famous lone nut theory concocted by the Warren Commission, who President Lyndon B. Johnson tasked with investigating the assassination. Now, after the assassination, apparently the Dallas Police Department knew who to look for, even though there were no witnesses. Shortly after, a Dallas policeman by the name of J.D. Tippit was shot and killed in the corner of 10th and Patton in the Oak Cliff section of Dallas, allegedly by Lee Harvey Oswald, even though witnesses present said the gunman was a different height and a different build than Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald was arrested in the now infamous Texas Theater, and the people had their patsy. Now, everybody knows that when something happens to the president, the vice president is in charge next. This is exactly what happened upon the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Lyndon B. Johnson became the next president. Now, is it a stretch to say that he may have known about the assassination plot? I mean, after all, he stood to benefit the most, right? Just a question. I personally believe there was a conspiracy to kill President Kennedy that day in Dallas. I believe there were more than 3 shots, as stated in the Warren report. The so-called pristine bullet is a farce, in my opinion. It was placed on Governor Connolly's stretcher in the hospital in perfect condition. Now, I myself have fired weapons, and a lot of you have fired weapons before. We all know what bullets do when they hit things, right? We all know they're not in pristine or perfect condition. That's why I believe that was a farce. I believe the fatal shot came from behind the picket fence, as stated by many witnesses. I believe Oliver Stone's film, JFK, got the scenario right. It's a great film. You should see it if you haven't. Definitely must see it. Now, if you want to understand why Kennedy was killed, watch and listen to Donald Sutherland's part in JFK. Kennedy would have passed the Civil Rights Bill himself. It's ironic that LBJ ended up doing it because he himself was a racist. Vietnam would have also ended under Kennedy's watch, but they killed that 46-year-old man from Brooklyn, Massachusetts on November 22nd, 1963.